There is chaos in Minnesota as Jimmy Butler has decided to go off on the Wolves management and their players. What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA and talking about some NBA drama that we need to discuss. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe down below because I talk a lot of NBA on this channel as well as NFL. So you are not going to want to miss out on that. And in order not to miss out on that, you're going to want to turn on my post notifications by clicking that bell icon down below. So go ahead and do that. With that being said, let's talk about the biggest story of the day today, which is Jimmy Butler and this practice fiasco, if you will, that happened. So basically, if you missed the story, so if you've been living under a rock, basically what happened is Jimmy Butler practiced with the Timberwolves today. Why is that a story? Because Jimmy Butler wants out, okay? And I made a video about that. Go and check that out. Jimmy Butler wants to be traded. He wants out of Minnesota. He's done with the Timberwolves. Okay, we got it. All right. With that being said, the season's right around the corner, though. So you got to play, right, Jimmy? Because you're still not traded yet. And why are you not traded yet? Because the Timberwolves are still trying to convince Jimmy that, you know, they want to keep him, Thibodeau especially, and also they don't like the trade offers they're getting. Okay, I'm about to talk about all that and more in a second. Don't you worry. But again, going back to what the story is, so they're not trading him. The season's right around the corner. Hey, it's time to practice. You got to practice, right? Because you know what? You got to get ready for the first game. Oh, boy, that's awkward. That's awkward. But you know what? Jimmy's not missing out on game checks. He's not missing out on these practice checks. He could get suspended. There's some rules around that where you can't miss certain things if you're on the roster, okay? So he's at practice, and then all hell breaks loose. Okay, so basically, Woj tweeted this, and he basically talked about it, and I'm going to read you guys what he basically said here with Jimmy Butler, who participated in the practice session. He verbally challenged teammates and coaches, the front office, and he was very emotional. So basically, he was scrimmaging in practice, and he took the Wolves bench players, and he said, I don't want to team up with Wiggins and Towns. I don't want those guys. I want the bench players, and I'm going to beat them. And he beat them. So Jimmy Butler and some unnamed Wolves bench players, okay, teamed up. So it's probably 5-on-5, 4-on-4, who knows. And they beat a team, the other team, which is led by Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, okay? So that's what happened. And then I'm assuming this is what happened because this is what Woj said after the scrimmage. He looked at GM Scott Layden and he said, you bleep and need me. Okay, you effing need me, and you can't win without me. Okay, and then he left his teammates and his coaches largely speechless. He dominated the game and walked out and conducted an interview with Rachel Nichols, who just happened to be there. Funny story about that, which I'll get into. So that's the story. And I know you probably have a lot of questions. I do too. Let's talk about it. Okay, I have a million things to say, but I'm going to start here. Okay, the Timberwolves are at fault here, first and foremost, especially Tom Thibodeau. Jimmy Butler should have been traded by now. I have been harping for this ever since the trade request came out. I said, please, please, Timberwolves management, do not start the season with Jimmy Butler on your roster. You will regret it. But no, are they listening? They're not, okay? Now, later reports had the Heat willing to give up Josh Richardson and a first-round pick for Jimmy Butler. Apparently, the Rockets will trade Eric Gordon and a pick, but they don't want to include PJ Tucker. Now, again, I don't know if Minnesota is looking to win now or try to win now, or are they looking for future assets? Because, again, Tom Thibodeau doesn't want to rebuild. So if he's going to approve this trade, he probably wants players that can help him win now. And if it's the GM, well, actually, Tibbs is the GM. I should say the president, if you will. He's going to want players for the future, right? So that largely is making it confusing for me to tell what the Timberwolves want. But essentially, if I'm just looking at these offers from an objective, you know, high-level view, I would have taken the Josh Richardson, the first-round pick. Honestly, I would have done that because you know what? At this point, it's only gonna get worse for Jimmy Butler, especially after this drama and fiasco. You're gonna have a bunch of teams that are gonna be like, why the hell would I want this guy around my team? He's a cancer to my young players. He's a cancer in general in my locker room. I don't want to deal with this drama. And at that point, beggars can't be choosers because, again, if nobody wants you, that's the market. I'm not saying nobody wants Jimmy Butler. I'm just saying he's not helping his case. So number one, Timberwolves should have traded him by now. They messed up and they are regretting it. So that is number one, the Timberwolves' fault and Tom Thibodeau's fault. They should have traded Jimmy Butler. They should have fired Tom Thibodeau. They should have cleaned house with the older players like a Taj Gibson, like a Derrick Rose. They should have hired a coach that is all about Cat and Wiggins, who you just committed a lot of money to, and that is how you start the season, okay? So the Timberwolves, you messed this up. This is the reason why this is happening. Number two, let's talk about Jimmy Butler, okay? Jimmy Butler, a couple of things I don't understand about Jimmy Butler. And I'm a Bulls fan, so I've followed Jimmy his entire career, okay? This man has the most craziest story of being homeless and making it out of, you know, Marquette as a 30th pick, and then basically becoming a bench player to a starter to a star to a franchise player. Like, Jimmy Butler is the rags to riches story, man. So I'm not going to discount Jimmy Butler's work ethic at all here. But I'm going to say Jimmy Butler's beef largely here is that Wiggins and Cat don't work hard. Well, that might be true. That could absolutely be true. And Jimmy Butler could be working his tail off. But my question to Jimmy would be, yo, Jimmy, these guys are just like 22, 23. Give them some time. It's not like they've been in the league 10 years and they're like this. And you just got to Minnesota. It's been one season and you're already fed up. So I don't understand the lack of patience for Jimmy. Now, of course, it's his contract year. Maybe that's what's pushing him, because if he obviously doesn't extend with the Timberwolves, he's going to go to a different team. And so he doesn't have a lot of time in that instance. But again, I question how Jimmy doesn't know this, because with Cat and Wiggins, they're still very young. Give them some time. It takes players a couple years, especially in the NBA, to really come through and develop themselves, okay? You really rarely get players that are fully, you know, hitting their peak and on full cylinders in year 2, 3, and 4. It takes some time, okay? And every player is different. So with Cat and Wiggins, it could certainly take a lot of time. Cat's just 22, Wiggins just 23. The other thing I'll say to Jimmy Butler is you could have done this more gracefully, bro. Like, Jimmy, I like Jimmy Butler. I think he's a very good player. He's a top 15 player, and I think Jimmy Butler could help any team in this league. Honestly, one of the best two-way players, by the way. Top 5 two-way player. But this is not helping him, and this is not helping the Timberwolves because of a couple of reasons. One, again, what I spoke about, Jimmy Butler, by pursuing himself and making himself seem this way, where he's like, yo, I'm all about work ethic, I'm all about hard work, but you're alienating your teammates. You're basically forcing your coach to deal you. Look, you want out, you want out. Do it gracefully. Let them know you want out. They'll do their due diligence and they'll trade you. No need to make all of these scenes and practices and make it chaotic. Now Tibbs is on the hot seat because of you, Jimmy, because you wanted out. Tibbs was probably so ready this season to just go all in and, you know, make the playoffs again and maybe compete. But he can't do that now because of you, Jimmy. So that's number one. And then number two, I don't like the way that Jimmy is coming off with himself, because other teams will see him as a cancer, like I mentioned, and they won't like that, and they won't want him around and on their roster, especially around their young players. So I don't understand why Jimmy Butler is doing this in the way he's doing it. I understand the trade request. I'm talking about the way he's doing the trade request. And so that's what I have a problem with. So I'll finish off by saying this. I really hope that, you know, whatever team Jimmy Butler lands on, and he's going to get traded, we know he will. I'm predicting probably the Miami Heat, just because they've got the best trade offer so far. But whatever team Jimmy Butler lands on, I really hope Jimmy realizes that, you know, the way to go about things and the way to do things, there's a way to do it, okay? There's a right way and there's a wrong way. And you know what? When you say you're all about winning, and then you say you want to get traded to the Knicks, Clippers, and the Nets. So which one is it, Jimmy? I just don't know. And a lot of people, a lot of fans don't know. If you're all about winning, why do you want to go to organizations where they're not really known for winning? We know the Knicks are a laughing stock for the last 20 years. The Clippers, same thing outside of the CP3, Blake Griffin era. Even they didn't win squat. And the Nets have been rebuilding, it feels like, for 7-8 years. So if you really want to win, wouldn't you want to be traded to a contender? So I don't understand. So my thing is, I'm calling bluff on a couple of things with Jimmy Butler, especially the winning part. Jimmy Butler wants to be on a team where he's the alpha dog and he's around players he respects. So that is what it is. But again, Timberwolves don't owe him anything. They can trade him wherever the hell they want to trade him, which, again, they will. But I really hope for Jimmy's sake, the next situation he's in, he deals with it better. He deals with it better because the way this is ending, this is bad. This is not how you go out. I feel bad for the Timberwolves in that instance. But again, they also caused this mess by not getting rid of him sooner rather than later. So there you have, folks. Those are my thoughts on the Jimmy Butler situation. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Leave a comment down below. Let's talk about it. As always, thanks for watching.